What's up, everybody? We are here with Solos podcast. Ooh, started at 11:44 Eastern time, started at 9:44 Mountain time. That's 10:44 Central time, and that would be 8:44 Pacific time for all of you. I don't know if I can go into all of the other time zones, but that's a synchronicity. So welcome, Greg. You are the first ever guest on our Solos podcast. So thank you for being so special.
Absolutely. Really, I'm honored to be here and just really thank Ryan and Josh for championing this podcast and really have been enjoying the episode so far and have just learned so much and just happy to be here to contribute and learn.
Fuck yeah. Thanks for being here, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna get a third perception in our conversation, so I'm looking forward to this as well.
It's the triangle. It's the
Mm.
triangle. We're moving. Interesting enough, you just brought up Joshua talking about year 10, the number 10, and 10 is connected to binary code. And we're moving from a one and a zero in the conversation to a one and a zero and a one. And Greg is creating the triangle. So for anyone that's listening, that makes absolutely zero sense. You might have to go listen to our previous podcast episodes to get a feel, because we've been diving into quantum stuff, into metaphysical stuff, into physical stuff, emotional stuff. And so all of that is going to be on the table for this conversation. But really, what the goal was is that we wanted to get the guests going on these conversations. And Joshua and I started Solos as for this men's group. And that is where we met Greg. I had met Greg previously because he reached out and did a one-on-one session with me. Then his wife reached out, got him a mala for Father's Day, and the whole time I was just like, I vibe with this dude. Like the moment that we had a conversation, I was like, I know we're gonna be friends. Like I know it, I feel it. And so then when he joined in the men's group, I told Joshua, I was like, Greg's jumping on, like keep it up on Greg. And then it was like, all right, time to have the first guest on. So it was Greg. So how you feeling today, brother? What is present for you that you're coming in with this the conversation with right now?
Um, you know, um, I think what's most present on my mind right now is just giving myself some grace, and I'll be honest, the last 7 days, I've definitely, I don't think I've been operating at my peak. And so just the awareness behind that of trying to recenter and reground, and it's okay to always not be at your optimal. And so I did some traveling last week and, met with some family that I typically don't see much and once or twice a year. And, it was a great visit, but just, I don't think I was operating at my optimum. And, I think the big identification there is that I have a really good support system where I live full time, and then maybe when I travel, I think that would be the big observations that maybe my support system isn't as good down there, and my family isn't as ascended, or maybe haven't even started their ascension at all, or whatnot. But yeah, just really giving myself some grace and feeling like it's okay not to always feel 120% like I'm gonna, tackle the world today. But just really feeling grateful as well. And yeah, as we end this year, I'm just really feeling grateful for all the things that have kind of transpired with my life over the past 12 months. My wife and I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby little girl that has just like been indescribable feeling, and has really, really kind of grounded me even further into who I am and not in this physical. So I'm gonna stop there.
Joshua, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, just want to let that sink in. That's a beautiful reflection and lots of life events, yeah, to experience and Yeah, I think it was it Ram Dass that said like you think you're ascended, like go spend a weekend with your family or something like that. Like you'll find out, what triggers you're still exposed to.
Mhm.
So I can definitely relate to that. But I'm present to, yeah, just transition point. It feels like a lot of if we're treating 2025 as the 9 year, a lot of like cycles coming to an end, and man, I feel like. Not that I want them to continue, but it's like it's hard to believe that it's things are going to reset and there's going to be some new beginnings here in 2026. It's almost like they're overdue, but I gotten so used to being in like the version of myself I had to be to see those through to the end that it's like it's just a slight adjustment, but I think I'm ready, more ready than ever to enter into some fresh starts and some new beginnings here. So that's what I'm present to.
Yeah, what I'm picking up from there is like the peak, like trying to understand what our peak is, like when we're operating at our peak, and how this relates to like our relationship with family during the ascension process and the ascension um, cycles, I guess, because there's much more going on with our family and those dynamics that are like key components to our ascension process than I think we realize at the beginning. It's kind of like this feeling of, oh, everybody's going through ascension and it's like all we're all going through it, and then it's like, oh wait, is everyone going to go through it? Like, is everyone going to choose that? And you start dropping like the resonance almost. It's like the vibe falls away. Like the vibe just doesn't align anymore. It's like literally vibration just doesn't align. And so then we try and go back for the holidays and it's like rubbing up against itself. It's like sandpaper. And so I think I have an interesting experience because of what I have experienced with my family in this life and what I realized was going on with my family. And it made it pretty easy for me to cut people off and like disconnect from being attached to them kind of coming through to the ascension reality. But now I'm still coming up with the ones who I am close with, realizing that they're not probably going to come through. And so I'm now coming up again at this head of like, okay, I had this hope on. I had these and it wasn't like false hope, I would say. I don't think I was like doing it out of a imbalanced way, but it was almost like a there is a window for these people to become aware of themselves, to become aware of this ascension window. And it's like that window kind of has closed for people. And there's no possibility for them coming through because they have so much stuff to heal. And that window's just, that gap is closed. So we're now coming up against that head of like, this is the part of the process that we've kind of been preparing for, I guess, is the change in the timelines and the grief. And so I guess I just want to open it up to either one of you around how you've been dealing with that grief or that potential grief that is there.
Go ahead, Greg.
Um, sure. I mean, I wanted to maybe pose one other question too, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll certainly answer your question. But what, you know, after listening to you, one thing that popped up was what motivates a certain individual to decide it's time to ascend, and what is that look like? And I think it looks like different in every person. But why, is someone in their 60s or 70s, what does that look like for them versus, maybe a decision for someone in their 20s or 30s? Just something to ponder on. And I know what it looked like for me specifically was there was, enough suffering to where I reached the point where I said, this is enough suffering, this is enough, kind of negative judgmental thoughts that I um I knew in my heart that there was a difference between right and wrong and good and bad. And I wanted to be on the right side, the loving side, whatever that looked like. I was 100% fully devoted to stepping outside of my comfort zone and doing whatever it took um, to heal and to release any of that, because I knew that was what was stored up there. It's all, unresolved trauma that I hadn't dealt with, and that was causing all the suffering. So it was all that suffering again and again and again. And I just finally said, "This is a conscious decision. I know in my heart that this is what I need to do."
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, what was the? I can answer your other question
Well,
too.
so first I want to say, like, can you give us an example of what maybe those one of those moments were? Like, I had some come up in my head about my life. So I'm wondering if there's a specific example you'd be able to give.
Of like when I completely surrendered.
Yeah, like the turning point, kind of like
Yeah.
what happened up into that point, what the event was or what the trigger point was that kind of then launched you into like, okay, this is how I'm gonna change moving forward.
Sure. I think, on the earthly side of things, um, I'm the youngest of three or four in my family, sorry, and my two oldest brothers are high achievers, business guys, MBAs, and so my dad as well. He was actually in the government, and so I felt like I always had to push to management, and that was the thing that I was destined to do. Was whatever job you had, you always had to work your way up and get to being a supervisor, manager of some sort. And if you weren't doing that, you weren't, working hard enough. So I followed, from what I thought was the right thing to do, followed all the path, and I was doing tree care. So I started as a ground guy, dragging the brush. Then I got the tree climber. Then I got the foreman, and then I got to the sales gig. And I got the car, the laptop, the salary.
Mhm.
I thought I made it. I was so happy, so happy. And then 6 months, 6 to 9 months later, I turned in my resignation. I felt so empty inside, so empty of, I just wanted to help people. And then in turn, I'm causing all this conflicts with other salesmen, and we're having to share the equipment. And it was just the worst, the most empty I've ever felt in my life. So I left my job with no backup plan at all. I had a little nest egg. I said, I'm done with this. There's gotta be more. There's gotta be more. And so, I remember doing, I was raised Christian. And so I remember, accepting God into my heart as a child, and always kind of having some skepticism behind the religion and the Christianity. But I always knew there was a God, whether, what version that it looked like. I knew in my heart that there was a creator. And so, after I left the tree service, I just constantly started saying a prayer to myself. And I just said, God, quiet my heart, quiet my heart, quiet my heart. Because the emotions were heavy, and they were feeling like, why am I here? Why am, lots of lack and negative of, well, how did I get here? But I knew that I was destined for more. And just that conscious prayer of, God, heal my heart, that spurred and started everything for me. And again, it wasn't once, but it was a continuous thing over the course of time. And then that really started to open up relationships and different podcasts and people I'd watch on Instagram and YouTube, and books I was reading, and then, conversations I was having with my partner. So that was really the start of things for me.
Beautiful. It's interesting to reflect on those. I hear so much of my story in Greg's story. Yeah, mine were I had back-to-back jobs of sales positions where I earned, exactly what I wanted to. I hit my goal and it was just like, ugh, I feel like shit. Like this is empty. I'm not, I know that there's more for me, to make an impact, to be influential. And I think I was trying to fit that square peg into the round hole with whatever I was doing, but then it became clear, well, you know, it was more of a question to Greg's point, like show me like what is it that I should be doing? Then I had some synchronicities align with the passing of my great aunt. She left a small, not inheritance, but like a stipend of cash that happened to be exactly the same amount that required me, or that was required for me to go into this coaching program. So I was like, oh, there it is right there. Like just it just aligned with like me being a coach, like a professional business coach to help other people who have their dharmic businesses, they're trying to help others with their businesses. So I can help and coach them to be the best versions of themselves. So
Mhm.
yeah, but that came after lots of yeah, going through the gunk and like knowing that there's, something's wrong with this picture. I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel good to me. I know I shouldn't be here. I'm making the best of it while I'm in it. But yeah, I think it started with me with like the law of attraction and oh, if this is real, then maybe I'll tune into this and see where this takes me. And that turned into um, being overly positive and just making the best of everything. And then at a certain point, yeah, I started to go into to the gunk and see how much was there that I was totally blind to, and
Mhm.
a lot of that can knock you on your ass and like yeah, it's like you're drinking from a fire hose, especially in the beginning of like what did I sign up for? But every step there, got a little bit better, or I saw a little bit more clearly. It felt like I was a little bit more on the track that I should be on, and then yeah, once you start, it kind of develops this momentum, and you can't really. At least I feel that way. I can't go back even if I wanted to. But at this point, long past, like I don't want. There's no way I want that other lifestyle where I'm just blissfully ignorant
Mhm.
to the truth, and that has led me on this path to seeking more and more and more. And guess what? There is more and more and more.
Mhm.
There's lots of truths out there that have been hidden either purposely or not. Um, but as you both know, and especially Ryan, like I'm curious by nature, so I continue to be curious. What else is what else is there? Am I on the right path? And just continuing to align myself to with what feels good in my highest timeline.
Mhm. Yeah, I think all of us have these overlapping kind of patterns of how we were pulled into it. And it's honestly, it feels like it's so similar for every single person. It's like
Sure.
it's different and it's unique and but it's like it's the same. We've all heard this story. So how many times have we heard this story that we try to get what we think we want and it's the money and it's the job and it's the safety and then we get it and we feel empty and then like we have to make a change. It's like there's is laid out there for everyone and like there's wisdom in going through those experiences. And I think we're getting to a point where there's been so many of us that have gone through those experiences that like these next generations they're not going to have to do it. Like they're looking at it and they're like, okay, I get it now, like I get it. And I think it's like a few generations back, I'm 38. So it's like I'd say like 15, 16 years old, like they're not going to be dealing with that at all. Like the generation right before them, they're going to be the last ones kind of like pushing that wall away. So it's like uh, all of that was so necessary for us to go through. And it's like I'm seeing the pattern of there's like two different kind of shifts. There's like the first one that's like the internal, I need to make a change inside. There's something that needs to happen inside. And then there's like the external, which is like, is my external world matching my like internal desire now? And I think those are the two shifts that I went through as well. It was like, oh, I need to heal trauma. I need to go to therapy. I need to meditate. And then as soon as I said that I needed to do this, I had like a panic attack that night. And it was like, okay, there's confirmation, like right there. And so then after, about 6 months of that, it was like, I think I'm supposed to leave this job. I think I'm supposed to leave the music industry. I'm just giving and giving and giving to other people's creativity and I'm not making my own creativity. I want to make art. I want to do whatever I'm supposed to do. And so it was kind of pulling away there again and it's then been a process of like merging those things all together at once. And so I think it's now coming to like how like the process of getting back to peak performance and like getting the mojo back, like the feeling of this that we're going through is always bringing the mojo back, because it's like the mojo, the sexual energy is the creative energy, it's the money, it's the art, it's the all of the blossoming that can happen with our creative force. And so I don't even know if I have a specific question to come up from there. Who wants to talk about mojo? What does that mean? What does that mean? Because also it's coming up from Greg at the beginning. You were like, I felt like I wasn't at my peak performance in when you were with your family. So I'm wondering, like, what is the measurement of that peak performance, and what is the reference to, like, are we always trying to get to be at a peak performance, and like you're saying, you're giving yourself grace to not be at a peak performance, but does that then inherently mean you're back at your peak performance because you're giving yourself grace and you're accepting it? So it's like I guess I'm bringing up, like, what are our measurements for our validation and our confidence in how we are being with our family and with our relationships? We'll start with you, Greg.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think that, you know, just really tuning into yourself and knowing, who you are as a person and a soul, and not letting the outside fluff kind of rattle that, I think is important. And really sticking to your true nature. Whereas, times when you have difficult, conversations with loved ones or people that you respect, they might not react the way that you want them to, but inside that, you're saying the right thing, you're doing the right things. So I would just say that there's just this inherent kind of self-awareness that you should have. And again, to your point of talking about myself, and what I said earlier is that I am, I'm aware that I'm not, you know, in the optimal flow state, these last few days. And I think just by being aware of that is, could that be meaning that I am in the flow state? I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, does it change? Like, is there, like, is there a way to avoid that non-optimal flow state, I guess?